Hello everyone, welcome to our backyard. This is a part of our universe that we'd like to share with everyone today. This is our world of chickens. We've been raising chickens since about 2013, so we're not new to the realm of chickens. But what we recently got was about 40 new chicks. Our older flock is now at a stage where they're not really producing any birds, and because of a contract I made with my children, those chickens will now live on into retirement as long as they choose to hang with us. They will never ever see the inside of a stew pot, let me put it that way. We needed to rejuvenate our flock, and so we got 40 new chicks. Now, we chose 40 because you can always count on attrition. You're gonna lose a few to the new environment. Sometimes they come a little bit sick, sometimes they don't adjust very well, and you lose usually a few percentage points of your chicks. So anyway, we got 40. We lost one today, so we're already down to 39. We want to introduce you to the inside of our little chicken nursery here. We're gonna open this up. Come on into our chick hoop house. Watch out, Psycho, when you open the door. There we go. Inside here is our chick hoop house. So really quickly, so you can see the construction, this is actually really simple. I made this with just scrap material that was left over. I did not want to invest a lot of money on the actual construction. So what we have here is essentially PVC pipe curled around each other. So you can think of this basically, it's like a covered wagon, except it's PVC pipe and wire fencing that provides the structure, and then we just wrap it in tarp and zip tie it down. And now I've got a complete sheltered structure with chicken wire supplementing around the base to prevent the birds from getting out and other critters getting in. But for a short term, because this is only short term, this is their structure while they are simply little chicks here. So let's take a look at the chicks. So now what we have here are now 39 barred rocks and New Hampshire reds. Now the barred rocks are the little black ones, and the New Hampshire reds are the sort of fuzzy golden honey yellow ones. And these are all females. These are all pullets. If you're ever curious about picking up chicks, and if you happen to go somewhere where they sell chicks in bulk, if you ever see, let me just take this as a piece of advice. Unless you're familiar with raising chickens, I would not go with straight run. A straight run will mean that you're likely to end up with roosters, and if you're raising chicks for eggs, trust me, you don't want any roosters. You don't need roosters for egg production, and they become very ornery and more trouble than they're worth. In fact, you can't give a rooster away in this town. Nobody wants a rooster. Anyway, these are all pullets. These are all hens. These are all females. They're all going to lay eggs at some point. Right now, they're about, I'd say probably just about a week old, maybe not even that. We just got them the other day. We lost one this morning. We lost one of our barred rocks, sadly, and that's expected. We'll probably lose a few more. But what we've done here is inside my 10 by 10 little hoop house here, we've cordoned off a little area where the chicks are going to be kind of isolated in this small little area where we can control them. This is certainly big enough for even 40 birds. But this is a short-term environment, and it's temporary. So I got some barriers up here to prevent them from running around and getting underfoot. But they're confined to a smaller area where they have a hanging feeder that holds, well, it can hold up to 10 pounds of feed. Right now they're on what we would call a starter feed, and they'll be on this feed for about up to 8 weeks. So they got about another 7 weeks or so to go. And generally somewhere around 8-10 weeks of age. And you'll kind of get a sense of this as you start to see they transform into the next stage of bird, to their juvenile stage. And then they'll convert over to a grower feed. It's a little bit less in protein content because they're not growing quite as fast at that stage like they are right now. And that's when they're what I would call at their ugly stage. They're not these cute little fuzzy chicks anymore, and they're not those beautiful, elegant hens that you see strutting around in yards around here. But they're sort of this quasi, kind of like the werewolf, halfway between one and the other. They're not very visually endearing, let me put it that way, as juvenile birds. But anyway, that's when they'll be on grower feed, and they'll be on that for a few weeks. These birds will probably not start laying eggs until they're about almost 6 months old. And at that point, then we'll switch them over to a layer feed. And the layer feed has less protein, but it's boosted in calcium content, of course, because of the shells that will be in the eggs that they lay. They'll need an extra calcium boost in their layer feed, and that's what they'll pretty much be eating for the rest of their lives, along with supplement from kitchen scraps and whatnot. So what we have arranged here is a hanging feeder. It's set up this way. It's supposed to discourage them from climbing on it, but I found that that doesn't really work so well. They climb on it anyway, and they kicked a lot of wood shavings up in here. But for the most part, there's clean access to food. There's an abundance of it. The chicks don't have to struggle for anything. They've got plenty of warmth here coming from the heat-generated lamp over here. This lamp puts out enough heat to keep about 100 birds warm. And so we're not anywhere near that number, so we're good here. As you can see, they kind of, right now, we're still dealing with the warmth of the day, so the chicks have kind of scattered away from the light, and they have plenty of room to move around and stay as comfortably cool or as warm as they like. And as you can see, right here, this one has decided to take a nap. And a lot of times you'll see these chicks that look like they may have just died, the way they just kind of sprawl out with their faces planted into the ground. But that's just how they sleep. And they don't really have their days are very active. I don't think I've ever come in here, and I've come in here at quite a few different hours of the evening to check on them. I've come in at all hours, and every time I've ever walked into this coop, you could see that chicks are generally in one of 3 stages. They're either eating or drinking, or they're running around, or they're sleeping. And at any time of the day you come in here, you'll find about a third of the chicks are doing one, a third of the chicks are doing the other, and a third of the chicks are doing the other one at any given time of the day. So they're always either sleeping, running around, and certainly a whole lot of pooping going on. Yeah, anyway, so these Hampshire Reds here will be moderate producers, not quite as high as Rhode Island Reds. The Barred Rocks are high producers. These are birds that will produce close to about 300 eggs a year. So generally on average, about an egg a day. And so with maybe close to 30 birds, as you can see, that's a lot of eggs. But we've got a lot of mouths here. We average about 6 to 10 eggs a day anyway. Now, one of the most important things about the coop and when it comes to chicks is hydration. It is extremely important that they have access to clean, fresh water. And one of the things that you can get for chicks are the typical watering troughs. One of the things that they'll warn you about is that you want to put rocks in there just to prevent chicks from accidentally falling in and then drowning in their own water troughs. So that's one method. But what I found is that when they have a water trough, they're generally walking in it as well and dragging whatever is in the bottom of the coop into their water trough, and makes their water kind of dirty. So it just requires a lot more maintenance, and you have to kind of constantly pay attention to it. And I found that the hanging water feeders with the little appendages that stick out, so when they're attracted to it, and when they immediately learn, they instinctively will come up and start to tap it with their beak, and then the water comes out, and they learn that water comes from it. So they all learn. And you'll come in here at certain times of the day and you'll hear the cheep, 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 and then you'll also hear the clack, 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 clack of their beaks tapping those little metal appendages there, releasing water. It's just a constant cycle of noise and activity in this place. It's a lot of fun. I would say, wouldn't you agree with me, girls, that the chicks are almost hypnotic?
Yes, you could sit and watch them for hours.
Yeah. Frequently I've come in here just to simply look at them and check on them and see how they're doing. I have other things to do. And then the next thing you know, I've been standing there for 30 minutes watching them, because they're hypnotic, and they're really, really fun to watch. They're really, really cute, and watching them interact with each other and their environment, it's very captivating. And this is a part of the universe that I know, I'm willing to bet that everyone here, and everyone watching this, has eaten eggs. This is part of the process and getting those eggs that we enjoy so much every single day. Not a lot of work. In fact, I would say raising chickens is a lot of fun. It's enormously rewarding, but as a bonus, you also happen to get eggs out of it. Anyway, this has been a part of our universe in our backyard. I look forward to hearing about your universe in your backyard. Thanks for joining us.